Like some Tai Chi or something. Dang. Touch the
Damn,
toe.
Daniel.
All right. Welcome to the Greek Culture Podcast, where we talk about Formula One and Formula One fantasy using Grid Rival. And today we're here to break down the Italian Grand Prix. Let's run it.
Run it.
Eh, eh. All right, so that Italian GP, molto buena. I don't know. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was
I had a
fabulous race. Just overall good race, good weekend.
and it was intense. It was back to back. There was different races. Like Mercedes was doing great, Ferrari were doing great, and we love when Red Bull's not doing that great. Just to get a little bit of mix.
I like them competitive. I don't
I
mind
mean,
it.
Verstappen was fast, and he was topping during every practice, and he was doing great. But they're having a little bit of trouble, and I don't think they were tuned as well to Monza this week.
Oh, I'm gonna see if I can find the article, but we'll talk about it later.
But when did you watch? Did you have another meetup today?
Yep. So we did the meetup. It was a little different today because usually we have like the private room upstairs. Today they had someone rent out that space for a fantasy football draft because it's that time of season.
Mm-hmm.
And so they set us up in like a corner area. So we had like I think we had like 5 TVs with the sound in like the corner of a bar. But it worked out fine, and honestly it really wasn't that bad. I like the private space because then there's just a lot less going on, but it was great. It was still good. We brought the kiddo today. It is kid friendly because
cool.
they serve food.
Because it's mostly a restaurant too.
It's a restaurant bar.
They also have like fun games and stuff like that.
They've got like a bowling alley with like an arcade, like off in the corner. They actually had axe throwing before, but they got rid of that, and now they're doing like pool tables and like skee ball and stuff like that.
Is this the one that's off of Flamingo? Or
no, we're doing the one on Mark Street because we want to figure out a central location, but it's kind of awkward now because it's like they've just been so good to us. Like, it's been great. We have like a great relationship. My F1 TV account just literally lives on their Apple TV thing that they stream stuff off of, so we don't have to.
So even if you don't show up, they're playing it.
Yeah, they could watch the race if they want to. I don't care.
That's awesome.
But yeah, the meetup was great. Brought the kiddo. It was good. And yeah.
That's nice.
When did you watch the race?
It was a morning race. We had a engagement party last night that we hosted and set up, so we didn't get home till like 12:30. Probably not in bed till like 1. But I woke up, and it was one of those mornings where you wake up, and I woke up to the F1 app saying you got a race in 30 minutes. So 8:30, I'm kind of like laying there, and I finally got out of bed at like just right up until 9, threw the race on. They were doing the formation lap, but it was awesome. It was a good race from the jump. You got that awesome overtake from Piastri. So, it was one of those, but it was a tiring weekend. I normally post a qualifying and then a race results, but this weekend has just been so crazy, so I haven't had a chance to post that to the Greek Culture TikTok and Instagram. But it was such a good race, and I keep thinking about it today because it was a lot of fun. And let's go into it. I mean, when you think about this race, there is some thought process in like, did people blunder their own strategy? And I think in the end it came down to how your machine handled tire degradation. This is a 53 laps is not that many. With the hard tires going till 33, that's more than half of the race.
Yeah.
So we saw it. Ferrari, no deck. They were able to hide on. I mean, Sainz was talking about it
Yeah.
close to,
It was
but
that left side. Everyone was pretty much unanimously like it's the left side. The left side has nothing, like got nothing left. Just consistent issues with the left side.
which makes sense because all of the little, what do they call them? The Lesions or whatever they are.
They're right in the corner, like right in the edges a little bit more on the left
that
side.
outside wheel on all of those. They're taking it. It made sense. And McLaren, another thing that we learned today is that McLaren does not have a number one driver. We all want them to. Everyone wants them to.
I don't.
But I think that it's better in the long run when you have a Piastri. They respect Piastri's talent, and that is cool. Instead of like when they were focused on like Red Bull, when they were focused on Max, but they kind of neglected Ricardo's talent. And I think Ricardo could have grown if they would have, harnessed his talent instead of just pushed him back. Uh, Whereas now, I think McLaren are doing it right, even though in everyone's mind they're like, why wouldn't you stack the points on Norris to beat the world champion? And I know that you have something to say, so I'm gonna let you go right now because I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's definitely money involved, but I think that this might just be. I have a few thoughts. I think, they're gonna get the constructor. Like they're less than 10 points behind. I can't remember. It was very, very tight. It was like literally next race they could take constructor.
Yeah, I think it was pretty close. I think it was like 20
like,
points, but
I don't know. It was less than that. Look it up. My other thought with that is they literally just blundered the crap out of Hungary, and I don't know if that's a reflection of Zach Brown not there versus when Zach Brown is there, that racing is allowed. He is a racing fan through and through. Like I will say that about Zach Brown is he loves it. We literally were just talking about, you had just mentioned it. He loves racing. And so it's like, I just think it's unfair after all of the PR nonsense that and like the contracts that they had to like swerve around to even get Piastri just to bench him and make him a number 2 driver. I also think that just let him race. Like I don't know. If Norris was a little bit closer, there was even a better shot, because he would literally have to have almost a perfect season or perfect end of season even to get close to it. And I mean, after that start, it's like, is Norris ready to take that fight? I don't think so. Maybe next year with a fresh season and a car like they have right now, potentially.
I definitely agree. They're actually so the points between Red Bull and McLaren, it's 446 to 438. Yeah. So it's less than 10 points.
It's less than 10 points away. Literally next race they could take constructor. They just need to race smart, score high. Because even if Verstappen takes first and they take second and third, that's it.
No, and I think that's the big talk, is just that I think they're not as focused on each driver individually, and they're allowing each driver to be an individual and make their own decisions. And then in the end, it's like, hey, be safe. We don't want to lose both of you. And that was the team Papaya. And I think that's like a funny thing, because you could tell they're younger guys, because they have to come up with like fun code names. It's like, hey, code Papaya. He's like, okay, cool. Race nice, be good, but it's on. And we were talking about even Zach Brown being such a fun race fan. He was saying after a Ferrari win in Monza, he's like, who doesn't love that? Who doesn't want to see a Ferrari win in Monza? And I agree. It was incredible. That crowd today was, you don't see that.
Electric.
Like even in Britain, even in Silverstone, you don't have a giant Mercedes
No,
thing. You don't hear them like this.
everyone's not singing the national anthem. There's
Even though
no
their national anthem is a bop,
dude,
they
the
got some. They got
streets,
some. Ba 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 da ba da
the
ba da ba
streets,
da.
the after race fiascos, like just the after race events tonight would be out of this world.
Insane. It's it was epic to see him. They were in their black. It was so cool. I was very happy to see that. You know, it's like seeing like things you don't get to like experience. It's like one of those because I when was the last time Ferrari won at Monza? It's been a while.
I'd have to look it up. I don't know off the top of my head.
And
Um,
and to have Ferrari's, you know, cash boy, you know, the guy that they've kept in the seat, the guy that they're choosing to go along, they did great. My next big hot take will kind of take us into the race report, and that's Colo
send it.
Pinto, man. Colo Pinto.
Or
Colo
what did
Pinto.
Williams call him? Colo Pinto.
Colo. Yeah, they spelled. They just didn't they
Colo
spelled sergeant.
Pinta.
Yeah. um, yeah. So if you're in grid culture or grid rival as and even probably F1, if you did not pick up Cole Pinto at the base level, you're dumb. You're dumb.
You're dumb.
You're dumb. You're dumb. It was 4 million to pick him up as a team member, and regardless if he finished, all he had to do was finish the race, and he would have gone up 1 million. Like
Yeah.
Zhou Guan Yu has had tons of races behind him. He's finished like not great, but like 15th before, and he's 4 million right now. So all Colapinto, he was doing great all weekend. If you did not pick him up, you're dumb. He was also
let that
excellent.
be a lesson.
Let that be a lesson. New drivers, you pick them up because they will give you the money you need. I was able to pick up Ferrari as my team this week, and look at me, second. RB Racing Boys, second.
I mean, I wasn't that far behind you. I haven't even looked
You
at this
weren't.
race report, but you
You
did pass
weren't.
me.
I did jump up 2. You were above me by 2, and I jumped up 2. So that's the Poppy Daddy. The only thing that really, so I dropped Ricardo, which I'm very glad I did, and I made sure I start Albon because all weekend he was fast. He was holding in one of the free practice. He was first for a really long time. He held that spot. He was just quick around this track, and he was an easy star. The sad, upset one, I think everyone got it, and that's why I didn't do too bad, is a lot of people had Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg being one of the top, like, lower midfield people to pick up, had a bad race. He just had a bad jump and just didn't get his speed up. But I mean, stuff. Let's go into mine real quick, and then we'll pop into yours to see our kind of differences. Because I think you were talking.
Let's look at Sal's first.
Okay, number one.
Toto
Baggins, which we had a lot of the same people. He had Russell. Russell didn't have the greatest race, but
the Albon star is huge with the Mercedes team.
Yeah, I think him having Piastri and Leclerc, and see, the weird thing about this is we're very close in teams, except for I don't have Piastri. I had Norris. And I don't have Mercedes. I had Ferrari. So, but he also has the money to have a George Russell.
Did you pick up Hulkenberg?
No, I've had him.
Have him.
I think I lose him. Yeah.
I lost Albon, so I was locked out of Albon.
So I had a free driver and a free team. I dropped Danny Ricciardo. I paid the early release fee, and I picked up Leclerc, and then I had lost Piastri just before this, so I had a bunch of money, so I got Ferrari, and then Colapinto was an easy pick.
Yeah, I was like,
I
because
knew no matter what.
I had already had Logan Sargent, so I had already picked up Logan, and then they announced that he would be no longer with the team effective immediately, and I was like, I'm just gonna let it ride. I'm just gonna pick up Colapinto, and we're gonna let it ride, and we're gonna see what happens. He's a cheap driver. As long as he doesn't place as bad as Logan Sargent, he's gonna go up in value.
He almost got points. I would have said if one more person would have got a penalty, he would have got some freaking points.
The
Like
penalties were
that.
really crazy this race. I haven't
Oh my
seen a lot of
god!
penalties much this season. The Danny Ricks one was
Except for,
ridiculous.
oh my god, and that one was so obvious and so apparent, and
It was so
I even
obvious, but
said
like
it.
I think it's a silly rule. Like they didn't do work on the car. He literally just touched it. R.I.P. to that guy.
Also, the one thing that I'm saying is he's in a dangerous position where like you want to grab it because you don't want to get like pushed away. So I understand the instinct as a F1 car is barreling towards you, regardless of the speed, that thing could murder you. If he slips on the gas and just goes, like, so the idea that you want to just put your hand on it, I understand, but I think it should be like if you touch it, you have to take your hand off, wait a couple seconds, and then the time starts again. Um, but to take another like second because of that is rough. It's so rough.
Yeah.
And then the worst of the worst happened. Kevin Magnussen is going to receive a
The
one
race
race
ban.
ban.
Yeah, it's huge.
And I want to know what happens after that. So once he hits the limit of 12, does it erase after the race ban? Or does if he gets another penalty, it's another race ban? And if he gets another penalty, it's another race ban? Because all of that sucks. Like, if it got wiped, that would be interesting, but I don't think that makes any sense.
Yeah, I might have to look it up later because that is an interesting point.
Because does this mean he
After
just
serving
can't
a
get
race
any
ban in
more?
Formula One, a driver can return to racing in the next event. The ban itself is a significant penalty, often resulting from accumulating 12 penalty points within a 12-month period. Once the ban is served, the 12 points are removed from the driver's license. The driver starts with a clean slate regarding penalty points, but any other penalties or reprimands they have received remain on their record for the rest of the season.
Oh. So anything after the thing is just like added for the season and then maybe probably tracks over to the next season. But he's gone.
That would be the case regardless because I think it's 12 months. I'm assuming.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah,
not
that
sure.
makes sense. That makes sense. Or at least, yeah, like a year that you have to serve it. But I mean, he's gone. He's not coming back. So,
Yeah, Magnussen, I've already said it before, is the most dangerous man on track right now.
Yeah,
He's not fighting for a seat. He's just there to get Haas some points, and maybe
he's been doing a
maybe
lot
something
for
doesn't pan
Hulkenberg.
out, and he gets to come back again. He's the most successful return driver.
Exactly, and he's been driving for a long time.
Yeah,
like I think he's been on the grid as long as Hamilton, almost, right? I think even longer.
I don't remember.
I don't remember when he started, but he's been on there for a while. He was teammates with one of the, it was Alex Brundle or one of them. He was teammates with them, so it totally makes sense. Let's go back to Grid Rival, and let's look at how much money someone got and what was the highest in the race report. What was the highest percentage of money gained through this race? And I think it was
team value.
Kimmy's ice cream. Yeah. And I want to see who he got and who ranked higher, because that one was interesting to me because I was like, Colapinto, I should have gotten a little more money, but what did he do right? and I saw that one earlier, and I wanted to double check on that.
He just had no negatives. Ooh, but the play is Williams. I didn't even think about that.
Wow. No one on his team had
Ocon was
under
neutral.
100 points.
Ocon did
Yeah.
not lose any points, but the Williams pickup is massive because if, like, obviously, you've now got 2 decent drivers, your value is going to go up.
If he would have starred Magnussen, he would have been the top.
Because Magnussen was the star driver of the race this week.
Yeah, this is a great lineup. Williams is probably back for a team right now because I think Colapinto is already more impressive than Logan Sargent. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about that team. I don't know what that, like, it kind of is sad because now that team is already, like, I mean, he's not gonna have a seat next year,
Yeah, like where does he go? But I don't know. He can just get in line because Liam Lawson deserves a seat before anybody, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then forget about, Bearman has a seat, which is the funniest part. Like, the Bearman has a seat.
It's to me, it's wild that when you look at F2 right now, the top drivers are not the people in the seats. Antonelli is not even battling for top seat in F2. Like, the F2 championship is insane right now. Like, it's not none of these drivers. Like, now the points are, I don't know if you saw any of the highlights from F2 today, but Bortoleto came from last place to first.
Yeah, I did see
and
that.
I thought that was insane. But right now, in the drivers' championship, Antonelli is only 6th. Colapinto is 7th, and now he's leaving and he's not racing anymore because he's now finishing the season. Bearman is 14th. And another person that everyone's talking about is Fittipaldi, and he's 11th. So I'm just like, I don't know, like, where these people see these talented drivers when they're not even winning. Like, Piastri was a winning F2 driver. Like, so I don't know. I'm hoping Antonelli is much better than he's performed. I mean, we saw him this weekend. It was something, and another thing is now that he's signed, it's a big deal because I mean, the Toto interview was very interesting. He was saying that he really truly believes in the junior driver program through Mercedes, like exactly how George and all these people moved up. So he's hoping that is very much the reason why he's bringing Kimi, and he's saying, like, his values and all this stuff, and that's great and everything, but, like, you're replacing him with a 7-time world champion, and you don't have one right now. George Russell is not a world champion. Not.
I mean, the weird part to me, though, is it just seems like a Hail Mary. Yes. Because George went to Williams. George did not just come up to a top-tier team. George went to Williams and had to do his time from, the lower series up into Formula One. He didn't just come in and say, I'm at Mercedes now. Where it's like, I don't know. I think that, maybe it is he doesn't want to miss out on the next Max Verstappen.
And I think that's the big thing is he's bringing up the Kobe, like, you're skipping college and you're going straight into the NBA. Like,
his one lap, that's what they're trying to do. His one lap was impressive. I don't read into the accident. I really don't. I think there was not a lot of grip down. It was FP1.
He's trying to push it. He's trying to show
even
people.
Experienced drivers were struggling on the Parabolica. So I don't know. You know what I do want to talk about? I had been sent a post on Instagram that Red Bull is out of money because of the crashes from Sergio Perez. So they will not be fixing their car. I am trying to validate this with, some more reliable news sources, but it is not far fetched to think that Red Bull is out of money.
No, their catering budget is huge.
Which means that, yeah, which means that this is it. I don't know. I mean, how do you fix it? If you with no money.
I mean, you take. We saw last year. You take the penalties and you pay the extra
Well,
money
no,
to
there's
make it
no
right.
going over budget. Like, budget is not just replacing parts. It's not a race penalty. That's a slap to the team. That's, I mean, it's still unprecedented because, like, what did they really get hit with besides wind tunnel?
Yeah.
But it's like, you can't do this again or they're going to make an example of you.
I mean, they're already going to. Like, we've already seen it multiple times. They did it. They got in trouble last year for going over budget and breaking the budget cap. And it's just something that either they're going to have to address, that they need to raise the budget cap because inflation is real, or they're going to have to make harder penalties for this, which is insane. Yeah. But yeah, I think Red Bull has a lot of work to do. We saw this weekend where their car tuning is not quite there. Max is having like troubles with, I mean, he had an issue with, I feel like all day, I don't know if you saw this, but it seemed like there was a lot of pit issues today.
Yeah, didn't
lots of little
like a 6 second.
Yeah, they just had, it was just like a bunch of different pit issues. I don't know if it's just the high like energy of Monza, and it was a serious race. This is one of the races that will now like move to a place in the season that is contention. We're one race away of the new world drivers champion. So like, this race, if Lando would have won this race, we would be talking more about the drivers champion instead of the constructors, which I'm just as excited about. But I mean, Max had already won enough races at the beginning of this season to stack on for multiple races. So
yeah,
without
a clear second winner that's winning more than just one race here or one race there, with the Leclerc win, it's like those were valuable points that Norris would have needed, which is kind of another like brick on the argument that I don't know that McLaren wants to take that fight. I think McLaren wants constructors, and that's a statement, and that's why they're allowing their drivers to just race.
And I think it's like, hey, if they want that championship, then go race for it. Like, if they want that like if Norris really wants that, he should have defended a little more in that first turn. He should have pushed a little harder, and clearly Piastri just had a better race. And it seems like that's what Zach Brown wants out of his team, and I'm all for it because I'm all for racing. I'm all for seeing it.
I also think that had this been the standpoint from the beginning, 2 races ago in Hungary, I don't think it would have been an issue, because they're like, look, you guys need to swap places and now race. You know what I mean? If that were the principle, that what everyone agreed should have happened, that place should have been swapped due to the blunder with pits. And then you guys go race. You do what you need to do it in a safe manner, code papaya, whatever. Do it. If Norris is faster, he's faster. If Piastri's got him, he's got him. And then you wouldn't have this whole we can hear you guys talking on the radio. Maybe you guys should just chill out.
Yeah, and I mean, I think now this, like, yeah, exactly. You're saying this race kind of cleared it up where we know, and if we would have known that come Hungary, we wouldn't have been like, what the fuck, McLaren?
What is happening? Deal?
Like, you guys are messing up, and now we're like, oh, you just don't have that as a focus. You focus on your drivers doing just the best that your drivers can do, and focus on the world champion. Great. The world constructors, which is awesome. I'm here for it. I want races. I want code papaya. I want that all the time. That sounds amazing. And then before we kind of talk about our next race, let's just give a hand to Leclerc. That was impressive. Impressive.
Yeah.
He was able to hold on. Granted, McLaren did kind of hand it to him, but he was able to hold that car. Like, that tire was not supposed to go that far. Pirelli had even said 33 is about the freaking limit, and he pushed it. I think it was like 35 laps, and it was great. I was hoping it wasn't gonna blow, and all the big fans are not gonna just be disappointed. So seeing Ferrari win in Monza in a home race is pretty incredible. And Leclerc did it, and he shows up when he needs to show up. He showed up for his home race, and he showed up for Ferrari's home race, and that's literally all you can really ask for as far as like a driver for Ferrari when you're still trying to battle for that like second, third place contention at the moment, because they're not battling for first for sure. They can in maybe a couple races, but like McLaren is pretty far ahead of them, and Red Bull is far ahead in the general state. But you got any closing remarks before we talk about Baku?
I mean, no, not really. Nothing that we already don't know. It's, we still got 2 empty seats. Who goes to those seats? I think I was talking about it earlier. I don't know who goes to, because it's what, Audi and is there only one?
It's Audi and Racing Bulls
and V-Carb.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it comes down to Liam Lawson or Ricardo for V-Carb.
Yeah.
And I think they keep Valtteri.
That's what they're saying, that he's the favorite right now.
Yeah, I don't think
he gives a lot of good information.
Yeah, I think he'll be pivotal to a brand new team. He came from Mercedes. He learned a lot. It's the same reason why everyone loves Vowles. It's like the knowledge that he gained at Mercedes is going to be pivotal to a brand new team coming in. I think if they could just clean up their upper executive leadership nonsense, they may be able to. I mean, maybe that's the only thing that's hanging it up.
Yeah. Did you see Bonito in the pit with
the steak gear on with the
and then Nico Kimi Räikkönen was in there with him this week, and I thought it was really funny because they were talking about, is Kimi Antonelli named after Kimi Räikkönen, and they were like, no, he's not, and someone was like, he was, and I was like, that's insane. Like, you have to be a very gnarly person to be like, I'm naming my kid off as like one of the gnarliest F1 drivers, but he's awesome. I like Kimi Räikkönen a lot. Another Finn, like Valtteri Bottas. All right, and our next race next week is Azerbaijan. Fun. Baku is a beautiful looking race. It's got that super cool castle in the back. Hey, kiddo, wear the Ferrari shirt. Boo, boo, boo.
Come here. You want to do the song? No. Okay.
Let's do the song.
Do the song. Ready? I'll cue it up. I have the camera off so they can just hear you. That's it. They won't see you. Come here. Ready? Do it. Dun 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 dun. Come here. No. Okay, he's shy.
Yeah, I'm still gonna clip that. Mac Verstappen. It is a bop. But yeah, Baku is, one of another fast street circuit that is going to be a fun one coming up next. We know that Red Bull is pretty quick around here, pretty regularly. They're fast.
With the way that the cars are bunching up on this track, we will see accidents.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we definitely will see something happen, if not in practice during the race.
It
This
reminds
has
me
that long straight.
the end of the season reminds me of that scene in The Other Guys when they're all like at the funeral and they're like fighting over like, I'm gonna be number one, I'm gonna be number one. And it's like, I just feel like all the teams right now are like, they smell blood in the water because Red Bull's weak right now. And so they're all just like, I'm going to be number one. I'm going to be the next, I'm going to be better than
Oh
Red
my
Bull.
god.
And
That
so,
that really felt this weekend with Ferrari
Yeah.
in the contention, because you're like, maybe it's just McLaren and they're going to be it, but Ferrari coming out of nowhere with a really quick car around Monza, like
the upgrades did the
there is blood in the water. I might even change the name to this episode to Blood in the Water.
That's it. Episode title.
Yeah.
But yeah,
they're
I
coming
think it'll
for it.
be a good race. You know, it's not next weekend, but, you know, a weekend after.
Oh, it is next weekend. Oh,
Yeah, so
I was really hoping for
ride the hype
this
train.
weekend coming up. But oh yeah, that's right, because I will be in Spain for the next two races, for Azerbaijan and Singapore.
So are we gonna do a podcast?
We might. Or you might get a guest. Maybe we'll have you and Cody Green talk. That could be fun.
I'll
It
just
won't
get on
be-
there and talk nonsense.
Yeah, just be a whole episode
I'll
of.
just get on wasted. Just
Yeah.
you just gotta see the race. It's fantastic.
And then October. Well, I'll definitely be able to talk after Singapore because I get back on the 22nd. So I should be able to talk after that one. But Azerbaijan, let's look at it. We have how many turns? We have 51 laps. It has I would say 20 corners.
It's 20
Wouldn't
turns.
Yeah.
It's 20,
But-
yeah. The on the map it's 20.
It's 20, but some of them are not real turns. They're slight corners, but remember it's a city, so it's a little bit tight in those areas. We have fastest lap right here. I see is George Russell. And then
what year was
that was last race. 2023 was fastest lap.
What was the lap record?
No, it's not the lap record. It was last year's fastest lap.
What
Was
what
George
was the
Russell.
time?
143.
Yeah, so this says Charles Leclerc 2019, and this is like on the F1 site.
No, that's the fastest lap ever. But this was last
You're
year's
saying
fastest
last
lap.
year. So it's about a 1 minute 43 because that's even in the lap record is 143.
Yeah. And then so yeah, it's a longer track if we're looking at 140
Does
for a lap.
Leclerc crash?
That's the question, because usually after he does well, he does real bad.
We'll see. 11 days.
We'll definitely see. And maybe we'll do a podcast in between, because we should talk some more about what's coming up. If there's any updates, you might see us. If we get some crazy newy updates, if we get some crazy updates about who's popping into these next seats, we'll let you know. But until then, this was Great Culture Podcast, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Boo, 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 boo.